know I'm not supposed to have this big old blank wall, but I'm sitting here reading. I wish I could have it just like that, where y'all could see kind of what the table looks like when I'm reading and digging. And y'all see that I'm in Esther. I've read Esther before. I've read Ruth. I'm not afraid of women. My wife tells me. My wife has told me a time or two. She said, "I think you just don't like women." And that was, I said, "Man, that's kind of harsh. I married one," but she said, "Yes, I know, and I don't know if you like her." I'm like, most of the time, but and so I decided that since God's blessed me with three daughters and a wife and a mom, and I got to I got and a lot of ladies that watch this. I mean, probably more ladies watch this than men. I mean, and I got some special mama hair. Ain't married Lou, Gigi. I had some phenomenal. I didn't mean to. I hope I didn't leave any. I mean, I left a bunch of y'all out, but they can't tell all the. It's just been crazy. Miss Sherry takes care of me. You know, she's been taking care of me. She is a nurse and works for Doctor the bone doctor Sessions, works for Doctor Sessions, and she has put me back together and patched me since I was in high school when I broke my first bones. And you know, just 2 3 weeks ago, I went and seen her because I did something to my elbow, and she come in here, I'll get you in, and she always taking care of me, and always y'all know if y'all know Miss Sherry, she's always happy and smiling and grinning and hugging me, and so I think that I don't like them, just make me uncomfortable somewhat. Uh, I don't understand them, y'all, at all, but I'm so thankful for women. And my mother's birthday, I thought it was today, being today's Halloween, but it was yesterday, and so now I'm a day late calling her. My wife even told me, call your mom, it's her birthday, and I thought, I think it's tomorrow, but anyway, I'll call her today. So I'm reading Esther, and I'm just reading Esther, and like, okay, Lord, you know, I want to understand. Always just, I don't want to just read to be reading, and so I'm going to just share with y'all what Esther in chapter 2, it says, you know, so what happens is, and y'all know, but Xerxes, which is his other name is, I don't know how to say it, Ahasuerus, known as Xerxes. He calls for his wife. He's having this big party, and he calls for his wife. Her beauty was amazing, and he loved to look at her. And he called for his wife to come and let him look at her. And I ain't dug into that, but I think he wanted her to wanted to put her on display in front of everybody in the party. You know, he wanted to show her off a little, and she was like, "I'm out, Jack." And so he run her off. And Esther too. Now he's choosing a new queen, a new person. And I'm reading, and I get to where he's gathering them for them to be interviewed or you know see if they're suitable or however you want to look at it. Says and the young it says and Esther, when the king's order and his edict were proclaimed, and when many young women were gathered in Susa, the citadel, in custody of Haggai, Esther also was taken into the king's palace and put in custody of Haggai, not the same Haggai that wrote the book of Haggai. It's Hegai. I'm probably not saying it right. Who had charge of the women. And the young women pleased him and the young woman pleased him and won his favor. He quickly provided her with her cosmetics and her portion of food, and with 7 chosen young women from the king's palace, and advanced her and her young women to the best place in the harem. So I want you to think about something. I'm pretty positive that Esther didn't really volunteer for this. I'm not saying I don't. I don't know enough to know. You know, when the king said this is what we're going to do, everybody had to do what the king said. That's why America is a great country, and that's why Donald Trump ain't a king. because we don't have to do what he says, and we can argue with him and get mad. Just look at half the beef industry's blowed up over the last few weeks, and look at all the people throwing fits. I mean, if he was a king, you'd be killed. You can't argue with a king. We're back. Okay, sorry. Uh, I tried to just block a phone call, but it turned off the internet somehow. Or another. So here's what I want to share with y'all, and this is just I'm just scratching, and I know y'all are probably thinking, how have you preached and done stuff for so long and read the Bible and you don't know more than you ought to know? And well, we're desperate for people, men that'll preach. That's why. Yeah, I'm just normal, but but hey, some of y'all a whole lot smarter ought to be doing a little bit more. Okay, he just had to use what he can get. That's a sad truth. Thank the goodness Joe Mama come along with. He helping us. He getting us further down the road. It ain't my fault. I ain't got no more brain than I got. I'm just doing the best with what I got. So all y'all hating and wanting to laugh at me or talk trash, send them comments. What you doing? Yeah. He says, I love that that he says it and advanced her and her young women to the best place in the harem. Now, no woman today or back then, I don't believe they ever wanted to be a part of a harem. I don't think they. I don't think that's a first choice of. Hey, I just want to be a part of a harem. And you keep digging. There's some. I mean, it's like, dang, no kidding. Like you just drop down. I'll just drop y'all down a little bit. So it says in verse 14. In the evening, she would go in, and in the morning, she would return to the second harem in custody of Shazgaz, the king's eunuch. A eunuch, nobody volunteered to become a eunuch. I don't know if y'all know what a eunuch means, but in the cattle industry, we call them steers. A eunuch. He says who was in charge of the concubines. She would not go into the king again unless the king delighted in her and she was summoned by name. Man, so I'm not, but because Esther, go back up, verse 9, and the young woman pleased him and won his favor. She didn't do anything. She pleased this. She's dealing with eunuchs, the people they're not there's no so eliminate the sexual thought of she pleased him. Oh my, no, she wasn't hateful, bitter, angry, belly aching. She wasn't mad. She wasn't patting. She was easy to get along with. She found and she uh I don't know. I haven't dug enough. I don't know enough, but Esther means star. That's the Persian word, star. And so she shining. You with me? So she was no doubt a hottie and shining. And but she was easy. She was pleasing to be around. She was delightful. And it got her promoted. And then we're gonna keep reading. What happens? You know, nothing's crazy. Once they were selected, they spent 9 months getting ready to go into the king's quarters. 12 months. 12 months getting ready. 6 months. This here it says. Now, when the turn came for each young woman to go in into King Ahasuerus or Xerxes, after being 12 months under the regulations for the women, since this was the regular period of their beautifying, 6 months with oil and myrrh, and 6 months with spices and ointments for women. I, I mean, nowadays, take a shower, clean up, put a little makeup on, put some perfume on. Y'all ready to go. It's like they've been a year getting ready. When the young woman went into the king in this way, she was given whatever she desired to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. In the evening, she would go in, and in the morning, she would return to the second harem. So she went one night, 12 months getting ready for one night. Oh my God, this blows my mind. I've read this. Listen, I don't want y'all to think I ain't read it. I've read it, but I'm thinking about. I mean, it's like wow. This is, I'm just gonna keep reading because I'm without words. And when the turn came for Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her as his own daughter to go into the king, she asked for nothing except what Haggai, the king's eunuch who had charge of the women, advised. So she listened and took some advice, and she asked for only what he said she should take. Esther was winning favor in the eyes of all who saw her. And when Esther was taken to the king into his royal palace in the 10th month, in which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign, the king loved Esther more than all the women, and she won grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. How did Esther get moved to the position? Because she was an enjoyable person to deal with. This is for you, ladies. Be more enjoyable to deal with. Be delightful. This is for you, men. Be appreciative of the delightfulness of women, of your ladies, of your wives, of your children, of your grandchildren. Encourage that. Encourage that. I don't know. It's Friday. My brain's fried. Hey, we had a slight frost today. It is October 31st. We had a slight frost. I don't know that I've ever seen it. I'm finna put on my boots and I'm finna go feed the earlings. I'm finna have a great day and it's gonna be delightful. Adios.